Yeah, so no one else has the guts to do it, so I might as well do it, right? So we're talking 2025 revenue. We've already been talking about, the terms exponential, inevitable, everything else that AITX is bringing to the table. Now, mind you, if you've been watching my last videos, I've been in the stock for 4 years. I have seriously never even thought about doing any of these videos. But AITX is the reason why I want to get into the YouTube videos because it is underserved for sure. And it has the most potential, and it is on the precipice of that inevitability. And that rapid RMR expansion is about to happen, guys. So just let's stay here for just a couple more seconds and you're going to find out why. If you don't know anything about the company, which you should already if you're an investor. So, welcome to the EveryChipInvesting YouTube channel. Been trading for a long time, even before the pandemic, blah, blah, blah. I'm bringing coverage to markets that are underserved when it comes to content. So, I hope you enjoy this page. Of course, just like Steve Reinhardt does himself and everybody else who does a silly little YouTube video, as a heads up, I'm not a financial advisor, so here's my disclosure. Do your own DD when it comes to trading. This is for entertainment purposes only. If you like the videos, like and subscribe them. I've had fun, even though I've only done a couple of these already. I'm looking at upgrading some of my stuff as is, so we're going to start working on that so you guys get a little more entertainment while we do the meat and potatoes. So, AITX. Recurring monthly revenue run rate increased 505%. So that was just a couple of weeks ago, right? May 10. So, with this, and this video is going to be kind of specifically looking at some of the numbers. Towards the end of the fiscal year, we had over 500,000 in that RMR on the books, and we're able to have 283,000 of that producing the revenue. 42 devices delivered but not yet producing revenue at the end of the fiscal year, plus over 100 devices contracted but not yet deployed. I expect Q1 2025 results to show a healthy increase towards the 500,000 plus objective, depending upon the production, deployment, and client acceptance. So, if there is one thing that we should know about Steve, as well as AITX and Mark Fulmer and the whole team, they pretty much deliver on what they do. I know at some points, maybe whether you're an investor or a fan, it might have seemed like it was kind of slow with the adoption in the marketplace and that RMR expansion, but we're on that trajectory now. A lot of that is because of Rio, but on top of that, it's because of RAD and just everything that they've been doing from expansion standpoint, and then just air that they just talked about this week, and just everything that they have going on right now. This is the company that is the next big breakout in AI. I would never, ever, ever suggest a penny stock, even though, of course, it's just for entertainment purposes. But I only talk about companies in penny land that actually produce revenues and make money and are going to expand, because we're all trying to make that cash flow. So, with that being said, you guys are curious, what are we going to do next year and the year after that? Well, I showed this on the last video. This is what we just did in the last year. We just did that 2.227 million in revenues, which was a big bump over the year prior, almost doubled, which is impressive because when we started to bring out Rio last year, a lot of their sales were on the back half of the year. So this expansion is going to just kind of keep exponentially going. Steve has done a great job. He has a great community. His Discord is great. There's a lot of people who do other YouTube videos. I don't even mind mentioning them. Like Shades does a great job throwing content out there. YouTube creators should represent the other YouTube creators and give them credit where credit is due. He does a great job on the technical side. I love that he does that. because there's traders that want to do everything just straight off of technicals, and there's a bunch that invest in the stock and might do a little more long term. So you kind of need both sides of it. So I definitely respect trades and what he does with that. So I just want to throw a little shout out, even though he has no idea who I am, but street cred to him. So the 3 months ended in November 20. We just had this 596,000. The RMR has been rapidly expanding. Let's see. Yeah, so here's the March 12 PR where we were confirming that August 2024 timeline. If you looked at my previous videos, they were all about just the three big catalysts to kind of get the stock just shooting up there past 1.1 pennies, and then just up into that 2 and 3 cent penny land, back to where it probably belongs at this point. And the volume has been there. The volume's been solid, but Steve put out in November originally at his investor conference that by about August we're going to be cash flow positive, and quite a few months later we are still on that trajectory. Steve has done a great job. He updates us on his monthly videos, and we are still there. So then also kind of going back to that January 2, and I'm just showing this right before I do my Excel spreadsheet, just because I look at all the info I have before me before I be an idiot as just a YouTube amateur and start publishing stuff. But Steve said he was still on that 2x to 4x annual recurring revenue sales growth in calendar year of 2024. So we're going to kind of look back at this as we look at the Excel spreadsheet. So what do you think, as potential AITX investors or current AITX investors or long-term holders like myself, what do you think the share price is going to be by the end of the year? And then, well, probably more on top of that, because the share price is not the company and all that good stuff. Where do you think the revenues are going to be as time goes on? Well, this is what I'm going to put out there as a projection. No one else, to my knowledge, has done this on YouTube. So this is where we currently were from an RMR perspective. So at the end of February 2024, 283,000 in that RMR. Our revenue was 2.227, all that good stuff. So let's assume that, and I'm going to do this on a conservative level. So honestly, just me being transparent, I expect this to be closer to between 8.5 million and 9 million next year. But this is just me being completely transparent and being kind of conservative. I'm only going to add 50,000 RMR to every single month when I do this, just because I know that stuff does happen. When it comes to tech companies, they're still investing into their next project, which in this case is going to be Air for AITX, which is going to be the next big thing. The home solutions with him coming out and doing potentially a 10,000 run rate of those, as well as 1,000 Rios, and just everything he's building into the business. It might take another year or two for it to get a little bit more, but we'll talk about 2026 after we go over these numbers here real quick. So 343,000 assumed, of course. We'll say 349,000 build. I do think that it's going to be a lot more than just 5,000 per month more build, because there's a lot more that goes into it when it comes to the modding services and everything else. But for just these illustrative purposes, I'm going to add $5,000 per month on top of whatever the RMR is. So, all right, you can look here: 393, 399, 443, 449. 493, 499. look at how these first quarter revenues are going. So we're looking at big numbers right here. And this is exponential. This isn't including one-time sales or anything else that's going on. So really at the end of the day, if we just do this basic math, which is extremely conservative, we're talking just 7.8 million. Honestly, it's going to be closer to 8.5 to 9 million in just my opinion. Steve's doing great things. Okay, it took a little bit of patience. I will admit I started to get a little hesitant and testy, and until Rio started to really start to show its awesomeness. But that revenue expansion is there. The company is almost cash flow positive. From a financial standpoint, it's doing everything it needs to be doing. Steve has said multiple times they're going to start lowering the debt load in the next year, and that is just awesome. We're going to get ready for NASDAQ. 2026 is going to be a huge year for the company. So with that being said, what do I think we're going to do in 2026? Well, still kind of remains to be seen. And every quarter I'm going to update these numbers a little bit to make it a little tighter. But I'm going to go ahead and say, come 2026, Steve and AITX is going to have revenue over $20 million. You heard it here first. So I will repost this in a year and a half, or a little more than that, that for 2026, that's how much we're going to be making. And then you can just do the math yourself. I appreciate y'all. Like, subscribe, all the things.